Nice guys do not finish last. Nice guys last. When I was in an emotionally abusive relationship of over 4 years, I will never forget what it felt like to be in my bed in my childhood home, literally at like 1 a.m., just desperately Googling advice from relationship bloggers or people who had accounts where they made videos about this stuff. Like, I used to binge watch YouTube videos where relationship experts would be talking about what does it mean if he doesn't text you back, or how to know if he's pulling away from you. And these were the kinds of things that I was literally eagerly searching. And those videos, they really felt so comforting. But if I'm very honest with you, I don't think I was ready to take that advice, because somewhere subconsciously, I thought it was attractive for a guy to be emotionally unavailable, for a guy to not treat me the way that I knew I deserved to be treated. And it wasn't until I got so for real with myself about like, you actually think this is attractive. It wasn't until I got so clear on that reality and held myself accountable to what I found attractive and what I found unattractive, that I was able to rewire my brain so that my next relationship didn't look almost exactly the same as the past 5 toxic ones that I had in the past. If you want to be in a relationship that's healthy and stands the test of time, you need to literally rewire your brain to believe that nice, respectful, even predictable men are sexy, and men who are unreliable and toxic are very unattractive. And until you do that, you will continue to attract toxic, chaotic behaviors, because unfortunately, somewhere along the way, you've learned that that is what is attractive. You all have been really wanting videos on relationships, and I have to be so honest with you. I love talking about relationships. It's usually the thing that my friends typically call me and ask me for advice on, because I always gave such great relationship advice, even when I myself wasn't necessarily taking that advice. Now that I actually have taken my own advice and have a healthy relationship, I feel so detached and removed from the version of myself who was spending over a decade of my life in toxic relationships with emotionally unavailable men. I kind of had to dig in my brain to remember the things that I used to struggle with and the things that I used to be feeling in that time, so that I could be best positioned to actually like relate to what you're experiencing. It's one thing for me to get on here and just talk about how amazing my healthy relationship is, but that's not going to be realistic to the version of you that isn't attracted to that yet, isn't actually ready to attract that, because you are so kind of stuck in this cycle of reproducing the same type of guy over and over again. I used to kind of process my thoughts in the form of poetry during this phase of my life when I was trying to get rid of that toxic relationship and move on to a healthier relationship. And I remember literally writing these words down in my notes section. And it was the words, nice guys finish last. And then I had crossed out the word finished so that it says nice guys last. And that was like my effort at literally like fixing this mantra that I feel like society has taught us. Society always used to say, nice guys finish last, nice guys finish last. And I had to sit down and think about it and be like, is that what I want to be true for my reality? That's not actually what has been true in my reality. My dad was such a nice guy, the epitome of a nice, respectful man. And my dad did not finish last. Like, my dad won a prize in my mother, okay? Like, that man got everything that he wanted. My brothers are each such nice men. Like, they are good guys. Why have I been taught that I shouldn't want that if the men that I love in my life and the men that I respect in my life all look like the nice guy? And I think that the world has branded the nice guy to mean pushover. And it's just such a shame, because people are nuanced. Being a nice, respectful person does not mean you don't have boundaries. It doesn't mean you don't know how to stand up for yourself. It doesn't mean that you don't know what you're worth. And so when I started really thinking about it, I'm like, no, I want a nice guy. I think it's sexy when a man is respectful. I think it's so attractive if I go out on a date and they're very kind to the servers, if they tip well, if they're just nice people. Like, why have I found it historically attractive to be with men who are assholes to me if I've always found it attractive to be with men who are really nice to other people? Like, don't I want that treatment for myself? So I started kind of piecing apart like all the little behaviors that I used to think were subconsciously attractive. Because again, had you asked me this stuff out loud, like, do you think it's hot when a guy doesn't text you back? I would never have been like, yeah, I think it's so sexy. But like, when I really got real with myself, I used to think the chase was fun and exciting. Also anxiety inducing and giving you butterflies, not in a good way. Like these butterflies are all just nervous little things in your stomach that are trying to escape, in my opinion. I used to kind of like when guys kept me on my toes. I used to kind of like when one day he was giving me affection and one day he wasn't, like this hot and cold, unpredictable behavior. So I started piecing apart all of those behaviors and trying to rewire my brain to like the opposite. So I started telling myself, I want a man who makes me feel safe. I want a man who doesn't make me guess how he feels about me. I want a man who texts me in the morning and isn't scared to double text me or double FaceTime me if I don't answer. I want someone who is just so secure and confident in himself that he doesn't overthink all those little stupid petty behaviors, because literally that's the freaking difference between a boy and a man, okay? And so I really worked on myself to find those things attractive, to like predictability, because the world teaches you that an unpredictable person is sexy. When in reality, if you really think about like what your nervous system needs, at least me, I don't know about you guys, I don't know what trauma I've been through, but I actually hate unpredictable things. It's so ironic because the thing that has made me literally break up with friends is me not knowing what I can and cannot expect out of their behavior. Like, I am somebody who, even more than the average person, values predictability. I value knowing what you are and are not capable of. I value knowing your character, like on a deep level, for the most part, because obviously people can and should surprise you in a good way. But like, I don't want to just wake up and realize my husband's a serial killer. Like, that's not cute. I don't want to wake up and realize he has a whole family in another country. Like, I want somebody who just has strong values and morals, and I think that's sexy. When it got to the point where I truly started believing that nice guys will last, and that nice guys absolutely do not finish last, that's when I started attracting a different caliber of man in my life. Something so interesting happened though that I want to warn you about, because once you start making this mindset shift, you're gonna emanate this energy of someone who does not play games. You're going to release into the world this energy of someone who is taking herself very seriously and therefore should be taken seriously. But nobody freaking warns you about the boys in disguise. I was not ready for this. I will spare you the details of this story. I literally had the most toxic of toxic men from my childhood that I knew come back into my life in my later 20s and disguise himself as a stand-up guy. And it was so interesting because I truly believe God was testing me. God was like, okay, you say you like nice guys. I'm going to give you someone who you know good and well from your past is not nice. And you know good and well is not any of these things and has no sense of predictability and no sense of just like, he's not going to treat you well if you end up with this person. But I'm going to put him in your life as a potential distraction to see if you've learned this lesson. For the first couple weeks that we were talking, I felt a little uneasy because he kept acting like the kind of person that he knew I wanted. And so it was just kind of interesting because I was doing all the right things in being attracted to what I wanted to be attracted to. That I think he sensed that, so he knew that him being his real self would not win me over. So he created this facade. But when I literally prayed to God to remove this person from my life, God removed him from my life. And thank God, because the next serious person that I talked to after that ended up being Ahmed, who I ended up marrying. But I really look back on that one little hiccup as a potential test, not a potential test, an actual test of God being like, okay, you said you like nice guys. I'm going to bring you the least nice guy disguised as a nice guy to see if you're actually really, really, really serious about this. And I'm so proud to say that I passed the test with flying colors, and that person did not distract me, did not throw me off track. But it was a moment for me to be like, man, I really used to be attracted to that type of person. Like, this would have been the exact type, the type of guy who I would later find out, and this is true, had like 2 different girlfriends in 2 different countries, and the type of guy who would tell me everything I wanted to hear, but then just go ghost. Like, exactly the wrong type of person. Yeah.
I gotta tell you.
Tell me.
A bunch of stuff.
Huh?
Are you recording?
Yeah, let me just. So, As you just saw, my nice guy came and interrupted my video, and now it's like 2 weeks later, and I honestly don't really even fully remember what I was saying. But I want to wrap this one up by just letting you know that if you are someone who doesn't find nice men attractive, you need to be alone. You need to be alone for a little while. I don't know how else to put that, and I don't know if I was doing the tough love thing at the beginning of this video, but right now that's the mood I'm in, and I just want you to understand, if you are turned off by a nice man, that is a you problem. And the biggest favor that you can do for yourself is to be alone for a little bit, start reprogramming your brain to think that men who are gentlemen, who treat you with love, who are predictable in all the right ways, who are never gonna leave you wondering if they're gonna text you or call you, who are gonna open doors for you, who are gonna change your baby's diapers in the future if you wanna have kids, like that's sexy to me now. It ain't used to be sexy to me. You know why? Because I don't think I love myself enough to want someone to show me that love. So I was just confused by it. So when people were assholes and mean, I'm like, oh yeah, that's better. That makes more sense because, you know, that's what I deserve. So before you get into your next relationship, reevaluate your turn-ons. It's okay if certain things that are like bad boy in like the cute way are turn-ons. If behaviors that honor you and show you love and treat you like a queen and treat you with respect are not turn-ons to you, you really need to have a moment with yourself and ask yourself why that is the case. If behaviors that treat either you or other people with disrespect, with a lack of self-worth, with a lack of gratitude for you being there, turn you on, you really need to have a sit down, my love. Like literally get a mirror and just talk to her. Whatever you guys talk about is between you and her, but you really, 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 really need to have a sit down with that person. Nice guys do not finish last. Nice guys last. Do not get it twisted. Nice guys will stand the test of time. Nice guys are sustainable. Nice guys lead to longevity, okay? Mean a-hole type guys lead to a shorter lifespan, figuratively and literally. It is not cute for you to constantly be in fight or flight around your man, okay? We need men who calm our nervous systems, who make us feel at peace, who make us feel safe. Safety is sexy. If you need to replay this video as like a freaking affirmation or mantra to hypnotize yourself, then go do that. Safety is sexy. Nice guys last. Nice guys last. Just keep telling yourself that until you believe it, because I promise you, when you get into a relationship with a nice guy, it will start to shatter the glass ceilings and expectations that you have around love, and more importantly, around safety in a relationship. I feel like this was truly something that I needed to hear in my 20s. So I want you to reprogram your brain to prevent you from attracting the toxicity into your life, because I promise you, it is nothing but a waste of time. I love you so much, and as always, stay powerful, my love.